Okay, so I wanted to go over GME, GameStop, the setup on ANEMOI. This is the 6-month chart, and then I'll pull up the day trader chart. Okay, so I'll remove everything but price and the hourly trigger to start. Bring back hourly velo. So you can see, if I pull up the 2-week chart as well, we had kind of like a long quiet period with not much movement in either direction, very low volume period, and with low volume, very low velocity. So this is just, a whole lot of chop and not a lot of trend. Every time we had kind of like a trending move like we had here, it got, shut down really quick. And then, when we had a downside trend, we flipped and reversed, and then flipped and reversed, and then flipped and reversed. So there hasn't been a lot much going on. But what's interesting about what we have now is that this is actually the longest time in quite some time that GME has spent above the hourly trigger. We could see here it was only maybe about 10 hours or so. Here it was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours or so. But over here, now we're really spending some time above the hourly trigger. The longer we spend time above the hourly trigger gives us time to print, really nice positive hourly velocity to the upside. And so that's kind of what we're seeing right now. We're seeing finally GME starting to generate some positive hourly velo, and we're seeing things that we expect when GME has positive hourly velo. So for example, when it came down near the hourly trigger here, we pushed right back up, came down again, pushed right back up. And then over here, you can see this rounding pattern. As we come down towards the hourly trigger, price is starting to round and push back up again before close. I don't know what will happen in the overnight session, but, if I'm watching this live and this is, midday, mid-trading day, this looks really bullish to me. What we would be waiting for is for the 1-minute trigger to cross back above the 5-minute trigger, and then that will push price up, and that will push the hourly velocity back up as well. So, all positive signs. The fact that for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours straight, GME was just able to push up into the last quarter of the hour, giving us, better and better hourly velocity prints is a really positive sign. But where do we go from here? So let's look at the 6-month chart. So yesterday, price tried to push above the daily trigger, but if we look at the daily velocity, we'll see that it was still negative. And so when it's negative like this, you do expect the daily trigger to provide resistance and a rejection, and that's what we saw. Sorry, this was actually this morning. So, ANEMOI is telling us that this isn't a setup where we can just break away and run to the upside because we still have this negative daily velocity. But closing the day, price closed at 26.67 and the daily trigger is at 26.78. And if we look at the predicted print for tomorrow, so that's this little stub all the way at the end right here, the predicted print for tomorrow is negative 0.008. So these prints are all screaming rejection if price would attack the daily trigger, but this print is saying pancake or pin, meaning when price comes up and tests this daily trigger again, ANEMOI is telling us that we don't expect a strong rejection and for price to come crashing back down. We expect the price to pin around the daily trigger, and if we could stay above here or even pop above and close the day above, then already tomorrow we're going to be working with positive daily velocity. And as you can see from the chart, good things happen once the daily velocity flips positive. We had a flip right here. I'll zoom in. Daily velocity flipped positive, and price ended up moving from 31 to 40, which pre-split, that's a $40 move. And then if we come back here, you could see that when daily velocity finally flipped positive at price is $34, price is able to move up all the way to $44. Again, that's a $40 move pre-split. Over here, velocity flips positive, and we get this really nice, strong trending move. And so definitely good things happen when velocity flips positive, and throughout this entire time period, we did not have an opportunity for that to happen. But starting tomorrow, if price can close just above 26.78, then we can have a positive velocity print. That would be the best case scenario. If price decides to pin around here all day, then another thing we can see is the hourly trigger come up throughout the day. So every hour, the hourly trigger will climb about 6 to 10 cents around. And then once the hourly trigger comes all the way up to 26.67 or 26.50, it could tap price and push price above the daily trigger. That's if price can't straight away break it to the upside. Now, again, there's nothing telling us that that price cannot break above the daily trigger because the negative velocity is so insignificant for tomorrow. The worst case scenario, which is number 3, is that price breaks below the hourly trigger. But again, there's really nothing telling me that that's going to happen. As you can see, we're working with really solid bullish velocity prints, and you can see towards the end of the day, even as price came down towards the hourly trigger to test it, once here, and again over here, price always started rounding and then popped right back up. So, the 5-minute trigger is at 26.73. The 1-minute trigger is below us at 26.53. So if this was, in the middle of a trading session, I would expect a bullish resolution here and price to be able to break to the upside. Now, the next targets, the uppermost targets that we'd be looking for would be this monthly trigger right here at 29.28. And if price can break above 26.78 and stay above there for a day and generate a positive daily velocity print,